So let's start from where we stopped. I was actually explaining the agricultural property for us. I was explaining the agricultural property for us, and I was saying land basically used for farming, land basically used for farming, for animal husbandry, for forestry, for aquaculture. Then we can say this type of property is what they are agricultural property. So examples are our crop farms. You can liken this to our cereal, our vegetables. You can also say another example is the plantation, our plantation where they are housed, our land grazing, our ranching, fish farm, wetlands for irrigation and all that. So we can say that that is what agricultural property. We can say that is agricultural property. Then another one that we have is we have what is called mixed use property. Mixed use property. So mixed use property, in a situation whereby you have more than one land use. Initially we've been talking about residential, commercial, agricultural, industrial. In a situation whereby you have more than one land use. I know nowadays we now have combination of residential with commercial with recreational. In fact, in a way with agricultural, then we can say this is what a mixed use property. And a typical example of that is an estate. We can say an estate is a mixed use property, or an estate house a mixed use property where we have residential area. Because sometimes we'll have churches inside, we have mosques inside, we have playground inside, we have where we can even cultivate our vegetables. We have car park, we have what else do we have? We have our shopping mall, we have our complexes, we have offices. And I know aftermath of COVID-19, most of our rooms have been converted into what? Into offices. Into offices. Probably you have a 3 bedroom and you are just making use of 2. I know after COVID, some people have decided, okay, let me turn just one room in my apartment to my office space. In terms of a fashion designer, for example, you can say, okay, let me use one room as probably as my showroom, or let me turn a room into my studio. So people now work from home. People now work from home. So we can liken that to be what? A live, work, play complexes. A live, work, play complex. So in a situation where this accommodates this, so you can say in a way they are mixed use landed properties, mixed use landed properties. And most of the times, the qualities of those properties that they are efficient, they are sustainable. It's not something that can run off time. And the usage in a way encompasses all. That is why you even see there wouldn't be any need for them to even go even outside the estate, because everything they needed is what? Everything they needed is there. Everything they needed is there. So we can say an estate was accommodates mixed use property. It accommodates mixed use property. And then we also have what is called a special purpose property. Special purpose property. So we can say these are the kind of properties that are unique, in a way. They are not basically under economic classification. Let's put it that way. So the examples we can have under that are our schools, or let me say generally, educational institutions, our religious centers, our health facilities, our recreational spaces, our government institutions. So we can say they are what? They are special purpose landed property. They are special purpose landed property. And most of the time, they are exempted from what? From paying tax. They are exempted from what? From paying tax, because they believe that, oh, this one they are serving what? They are serving a they are serving a particular purpose. They are serving a particular purpose. They are serving a particular purpose. So, and also we've checked various landed properties that we have. And I know I mentioned it earlier that we have the legal dimensions also. I explained that earlier. So in terms of the legal dimension, we can say that it can be broken down into four. It can be broken down into four. So basically, landed property, is not only governed by the types that I mentioned earlier, but also by what? Also by ownership. Also by ownership and the tenure system. Tenure system. So the legal dimension open us up to the ownership dimension, to the tenure dimension, to the duration. So with this, we'll be looking into the four legal dimensions. So the first one is the freehold tenure. The freehold tenure. So this means that you can hold an interest in land in perpetuity. You can own an interest in land in perpetuity, which means that it has no limits. It has no limits. It means it's for life. It's for life. And it can be transferred to heirs. It can be transferred to your generation. It can be transferred to your generation. Then we also have what we call leasehold tenure. Leasehold tenure or leasehold ownership. So this kind of ownership, in a way, is a kind of right that you can exhibit, or is a kind of right that is granted for a specific period. Basically between the range of 50 to 99 years. 50 to what? To 99 years. So after the expiration of this tenure, sorry. Sorry about that. So we can see under leasehold, after the expiration of this tenure, like you've used this land, it has been transferred. Sorry about that. So you can say that after this tenure, it has been used for 99 years, then it shows that after 99 years, the land is going to go back to what? The land is going to revert back to the freeholder, which we often refers to them as what? As the government, which we often refers to them as what? The government. Then another one is the customary tenure. Another one is the customary tenure. So under the customary tenure, it has been established that land is held by communities, basically under our traditional authorities. That is why in a situation whereby there are land disputes, or there are issues pertaining to land in a community, before you know it, they will transfer everything to what? To probably the head of the community to settle the dispute, because in a way they know the origin of every land. So as one king is coming, the origin is being transferred to him. The origin is being transferred to him. And basically this is common in what? In Africa. And some transaction under is, most of them are what? Are often unwritten and often unwritten, which in most of the time leads to what? Leads to conflict. Leads to conflict. It leads to conflict. So I can say that is majorly the advantages of the customary land tenure, customary land tenure. Then the fourth one I would like to discuss here is the state-owned land. State-owned land. You know, under the customary, I was talking about the community head, the traditional authority. So in the state-owned land, we can say that the Land Use Act 1978 established that the government should hold all the land in a state. You hold it in trust for the public. You hold it in trust of the public. And then and I will also like to tell us that the government may compulsorily acquire private lands. You know, I was talking about compensation in the last class. So government can acquire such a land. Government can acquire such a land for what? For public interest, for public interest use, which can be for probably construction of road, for rail, for park, for burial stand, for it can be used for so many things, in as much the public is going to what? The public is going to benefit from it. Okay, an example is also our public library, our market and the likes. But the good thing is anyone that falls under this region of land will be what? Will be compensated. Will be compensated. Then let's look into the tenure challenges. Tenure challenges. What are the tenure challenges that occurs? The number one is the overlapping customary and statutory system. Overlapping customary and the statutory system. I said earlier that the customary has to do with the tradition, the traditional ruler holding the land in trust, and while the statutory system is the new system that has to do with the government holding the land in trust. But we've seen some cases whereby we have a little bit of conflict of authority, where at the end of the day, now that we have a new system that is statutory, is conflicting with what? Is conflicting with the customary. So at the end of the day, we don't even know who to the advice to go with. Is it with our rulers, our customary traditional rulers, or the government? So there's still that overlapping now. There's still that overlapping now, which leads to what? Which leads to uncertainty of dispute, which leads to what? Which leads to corruption, which leads to unsettled disputes, even till now. Probably even when you take them to court, you just keep going, coming back, coming back, and at the end of the day, in fact, the stress alone we can make you forfeit such a land. The stress alone can make you forfeit such a land. And also implication for economic development and social stability. When you know that we have land disputes here and there in such an area, what do you think will happen? It will slow down the economic development. It will even slow down activities. It will slow down activities, because before you know it, you can't do anything on the land until the challenges are resolved. And court cases is not something you just walk in and then you win, or the judgment is what? They need some facts, they need some documentation, they need some registered documents, they need to be doing hearing upon hearing, and before you know it, year keeps folding and unfolding and unfolding. And what happened to such a land or such property? Such property will just be there. There won't be any development, especially when they know that, oh, in this particular area, this is what is rampant. What will happen? it will lead to, in fact, some people just abandon it. Probably people that even that are already interested in such an area. And when you know we have land disputes that are occurring, keep occurring, what will happen in such an area? People will neglect such an area, and before you know it, there won't be development. Economic development is down. There can't be even social stability. It cannot. So these are the challenges. We have also the economic issues. We have economic issues in terms of wealth creation, because we've seen real estate as a major So as I was saying earlier, in the wealth creation, we can say that real estate can be used for what? Can be used for collateral. Can be used for collateral where you can secure loan in bank, and it can be used for what? Investment. It can be used for investment. You know, I said earlier in terms of building and renting it house, and in terms of uh, building to resell, even in situation where we have just bare land. Such bare land can be what? Can you can just leave it there with the mind of what? With the mind of, oh, this is going to we know that land doesn't depreciate. Oh, this is going to appreciate in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years. And we have some economic issues in terms of inequality. We know we have as is being said now, that land is not equally distributed. It has been saying that, oh, it is only the rich people that can acquire land. They are not making land to be affordable to the less privileged. Or what are the mediums government is using to ensure that, okay, people that are not even that are less privileged, that are not up to the tax, can even secure land and we know even with that alone, where we have inequality, it can slow down some economic activities. And in a situation whereby we have this gender inequality, in a situation whereby, oh, they can't sell land because, oh, this person is a woman, or this person cannot inherit. Those are the economic issues when some people are being deprived of getting access to land, of getting access to land. Now that land is now something else. It's now something else, that it is only people that are, wealthy, that can acquire, which is not meant to. Then another thing is the speculations and land hoarding. Especially speculations and land hoarding. On a norm, a land purchase is to start being utilized, or is to start generating income, at least. But I know some people hoard land. I said earlier, with the hope that, okay, this is going to appreciate. And at the end of the day, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the land is just there. It's not generating any income. It's not adding value to the economy, rather to the person that owns it. So economists believe that you just keeping it and not using it for anything in a way is not really good. It's not really contributing to the economic development of that area, rather to yourself. Then another economic issue is the foreign investment reshape local land market, which is not meant to. For example, the free trade zone that is at Ogun State. You will see that majority of the people that are in that area, they are what? They are foreign investors. They are foreign investors. So it now looks as if the people that are even benefiting from it, they are what? They are foreign investors. So they are now determining what we are going to be using even our own local market to do, which is not meant to. Ordinarily, we are meant to what? We are meant to dominate, and just probably few, few, few. And then I know that some areas are, I know some areas are designated, some areas are des designated, and even some apartments, to the extent that what they will be looking for is people that can, paid in dollars. For example, Banana Island, they are not paying in naira, they are paying in dollars. And at the end of the day, even we that we are in Nigeria, how many of us can afford that? How many? We might not be many. We might not be many, because what we spend here is what? What we spend here is naira, and not what? And not in dollars, and not in dollars. So these are the economic issue. And also we have urbanization pressure. We have urbanization pressure. I know this is happening nowadays, where most of our agricultural lands that are used for production of cash crops, production of vegetable, they are now being what? They are now being converted into what? Into commercial use. Example is from Moniya to Akinyele side. It used to be farmland, but now what can we see? What we are seeing nowadays are estates being acquired by property developers, basically to sell in what? To sell in plots, basically to sell in plots. And with this, what is going to happen to food production? Definitely, food production will be what? Will be low. There won't be what? There won't be food security. There won't be food security. And in a situation whereby we just have growth of, informal houses all around, what do we have? That is when we start having slums around, you start having increase in crime rates, you start experiencing erosion, you start experiencing flooding, you start experiencing various environmental issues. In fact, this leads to urban sprawl, which impacted on our what? On our infrastructure. Before you know it, they are overused already. Because areas that are meant to spread out, okay, this is for farmland, everything is now structures, which is not meant to. We are being the pressure is getting intense. And also we have what we call environmental concern. I said it earlier that the compartment of these properties leads to what? Leads to so many environmental hazards, such as in a situation of the industrial area. What do we have? We have pollution, we have damage of ecosystem. And in our agriculture, what do we have? We have low production of cash crops. We have low production of food. It's affecting our food security. And before you know it, no plantation everywhere. We have deforestation. You hardly see trees around. You hardly see plantation around, which affect our what? Which affect our ecosystem. It even degrades our land, because they are making it overuse. They are no more uniform. Residential all around, agriculture is just being pushed back, industry and all that. So with this, you can see that there is need for a good a good environmental impact assessment in order for us to know, oh, how are we using this land? Like, are they uniformly used? Are we not being concentrating on just residential and commercial alone? Where are our trees? Where are palm trees? Where are cocoa plantation? Should be what? Should be revived, and to ensure that our ecosystem is even safe for us. Our ecosystem is what is safe for us. We are not damaging it. We are not damaging it. These are just basically the environmental concern that we need to look into. And also let's look into the social dimension. We've looked into the what's it called? We've looked into the legal dimension. Now we are now looking at the social dimension. So the first one, we can say that I said it earlier, that land is tied to identity. It's tied to identity, to culture, to heritage. Because in our culture, in Africa or in Nigeria per se, we'll notice that for you to own a land, some people see it as prestige. In fact, we see it as prestige that if you've not bought a land, if you've not owned a land to your name, you've not achieved. You've not achieved. That is why you can see that land is very crucial. Land is very crucial. People use that prestige. People use that what and as an identity. As an identity. Oh, I own acres of land. I own hectares of land. In a way, they see it as what? As prestige. And in customary practice, especially in our community life, they see land as something that is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. In fact, for your lineage, for your family, it's something that you feel, oh, they can inherit. It can be inherited. That is our custom here. That is our custom here. And also on the other side, displacement of from land can cause what? Can cause conflict and instability. I think I've said it earlier. It can cause conflict and instability. And before you know it, families start rising against family. Oh, especially where we have land disputes. To the extent that at the end of the day, those families might be enemies for life. That is what land can do. As good as land is, it can also be a tool for what? Be a tool for enmity. It can, if it is not well managed, it is not well managed. And also the political dimension. I said it earlier. This political dimension, it can be seen as in our land reforms, land reforms and redistribution of policy, redistribution of policy. I know this operates well in our in FCT, in a situation whereby you have a particular area is meant for, they can say, okay, oh, this area, they are basically reserved for maybe senators that are buying land here, is governors that are buying land here. So when you hear that, in a way, what comes to your mind that, oh, this has been what? Politicized. These are politicized. And also in the compulsory acquisition for infrastructural projects. So I said it earlier that governments can what? They can acquire land. They can acquire land for public interest, probably for construction of road, construction of parks, markets, construction of railway, construction. They can use it for so many things, in as much the community is going to what? Is going to benefit from it. Is going to benefit from it. And nowadays, you've seen how government also they've intervened over zoning and land use. Over zoning and land use. I know there are some areas that are zoned. They will tell you, oh, this area is for what? Is for residential, strictly residential. So commercial activities are not welcome. This area is strictly for commercial. This area is strictly for what? Industrial. That is what government can do, how they can even intervene, they can even intervene to bring sanity in the distribution of land, in this distribution of land. And also land disputes triggers dispute as triggers of political unrest, because we know how important land is. So most of the time, everyone in power will want to what? Will want to secure land to themselves. So that is why we have some political unrest. And then so this leads to globalization and land. Globalization and land. Either we like it or not, land has been seen as a tool for what? For partnership, for development. So in a way, land is meant to, especially in Nigeria, so that it's meant to be accessible, so that even foreign investors can what? They can come to what? Invest. They can come to make use of our land for what? To even develop our country in a way, to even develop our country in a way. And with the help of foreign investors that are coming into our whole nation, we'll notice that it helps to reshape and reform our own local market to conform with what is happening globally. What is what's happening globally. And again, this leads to the cross-border land acquisition. Cross-border land acquisition, because before you know it, you see some foreign investors owning land even in Nigeria. Owning land even in Nigeria. That is the way they've seen land to be. That is where they've seen land to be. And also, I said it earlier that land has been seen to be even integrated in our financial system. That is why now in banks, we can have credit and risk departments. That is why you can even have a part of them, they are having outlets all around. They are having outlets all around. They are having branches all around for operation. So, and another part is the collateral. Banks too, they can sell home and also give loan to citizens. So there are particular critical issues that is attached to land. So in a way, we can say we are finding it hard to strike the balance between the private rights and the public interest. The private rights and the public interest, and also the expansion of urban area that resulted pushing off our agricultural sector, pushing up our agricultural sector. And also when we are trying to look into the profit motive of land use in relation to sustainability, and also the complication in the land use administration, the complication in land use administration. So in conclusion, we can say generally we've been able to examine what land property types are. We've been able to identify them extensively as the residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, mixed use, and special purpose. And we've been able to distinguish between the various implications of these landed properties, both legally in terms of ownership, the economic, and the social implication. And we've also been able to itemize the ownership forms in terms of the freehold, the leasehold, the customary, and the state owned. And we've also been able to establish the 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 land as seen as prestige, identity, and heritage. And also we've been able to identify the social stability, the development, and the sustainability of land, and which leads to the requirements of interference of government activities in order to ensure what in order to ensure equity, equality, and to ensure that our environment is what our environment is stable, and our ecosystem is what is regularized. Our ecosystem is regularized. So thanks for listening, and I hope we've picked one thing or the other. And if there is any question, you can drop it at the comment section, and then I'll respond to it accordingly. I'm sorry for the glitches during the lecture. There is a result of network. So I promise us that next class I'll find a good location so that we won't be having problem of going back and forth. So thank you all for listening, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.